Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about Cricut Smart Label material. So Smart Label has been around for a long time in the size for the Cricut Joy, and it was only in white. So what is Smart Label material? Smart Label is writable vinyl where you can write on it with Cricut pens, doesn't smear, and you can make labels with this material. Recently, Cricut released a size for the Explorer 3 and the Maker 3, and with that they released clear, white, and black Smart Label material. Now black material, how are you going to write on it with pens? Well, they also released a set of opaque gel pens, including a white pen, in order to write on the black material. So I thought today we'd go over how to make labels with your Cricut machine, how to use Smart Label material, and make a few labels. We're going to make some white, clear, and black labels, and of course use those new gel pens and see how they work. Now, this Smart material is intended for the Explorer 3 or the Maker 3. If you have a Maker machine, Explorer 2, something like that, an earlier machine, you would need to put this material on a mat. Yes, you can use it with those machines. You would just need to cut it down because it's going to be too wide for your mat. Just going to need to cut it down for your mat and use it in the same manner that I'm going to talk about today. The Smart Label material, however, that I'm going to use my Explorer 3 with it so that I can use it without a mat. If you have the Explorer 3 or the Maker 3, you have that option. So let's take a look at the new products and how to use them. So here are the new versions of Smart Label. Black, white, and clear, and sizes for the Explorer 3 and the Maker 3. Now they do make, at least in the white version, a size for Cricut Joy. However, as of the filming of this video, I wasn't able to find the black or the clear. Doesn't mean it's not coming, doesn't mean it won't be there soon, but I was not able to find it. So for the Explorer 3 and Maker 3, you can get the Smart Label, which means that it does not need a mat. If you have a regular Explorer, like an Explorer 2, or if you have the regular Maker, you could cut this material down and put it on a mat. That's totally an option. To write on this, you can use regular Cricut pens for the clear or the white. For the black, you will need something that will show up on black. They did come out with a set of opaque gel pens, including a white, that I will be using on the black writable vinyl to see how it works. So now let's head to Cricut Design Space and see how to design labels to be used with Smart Label material. Let's look at a few different options for designing your labels. The first is if you just have a normal shape. So these are all labels that I got out of the Images tab in Cricut Design Space, but you could also use the Shapes tab to make your own labels. So what you would do is size the labels to be whatever size you want it to be, and you could unlock the shape and distort it if you needed to. Then we want to add text. So we'll pick the text. So let's say I'm making this for like a cleaning cabinet. So I could do Windows, and then we want to pull down the font. And for this, I want to choose Cricut fonts, but I want to filter and choose writing. Then I can pick any font that I like the look of. Once we change the font, and this one is called Close to My Heart, You Are Here, then we can pick the word and change it to writing. So when you use a Cricut font that's intended for writing, you get this kind of look where it actually writes with the pen and it's not like a box and outlining your letters. So I always go with a Cricut writing font. And then the next thing we want to make sure is that says pen. And we can actually go in there and change the pen color. So, you know, some of these we're going to be using those opaque pens. So we can choose different pen colors so that our Cricut machine prompts us for each of those. We're also going to change the labels themselves to what we're going to make it out of. So let's say this one we're going to make it out of the white label material. And then we'll resize the text to fit like we want it to. And what we want to do is pick both of these. We're going to do align and we're going to do center. And then we are going to click attach. So what this does is the Cricut machine will write the word and then it will cut around the outside of the label. Now let's say in this case, we have two layers sort of to the label. We have the cut and we have a pen layer. So it's actually going to draw around the outside of the label, which I personally really like. So for this one, I'm going to make the cut layer, well, let's make it a yellow, and that's going to indicate the clear Smart Label material. And then we're going to add text in the same manner as we did before. I'm actually just using the same font as before as well. And again, we're going to go ahead and resize this label to what we want it to be. Add our text, resize the text. Then pick everything, align, center, and attach. So now we have a couple different types of labels. This third one is actually a layered design. So it has two different cut designs. What I can do is pick this inside cut, and I can change that to a pin layer. So you can pull this down and change it to the gel 0.8 millimeters, and that's the one that I have, the Opaque Gel Pens. So I'm gonna pick white for my outline. And then for the cut layer, I'm gonna pick black because I'm going to make that out of black. So now we have a pen layer that's white, and now we want to add, once again, text. So I've added the text, once again made it writing and made it the white pen. And then I'm just going to resize this label. Then we'll pick everything, align, center, and attach. So there are three different ways that you might run into designs that you want to turn into labels and how to do that. And so I do have Explorer 3 chosen as my machine, and now I can click Make It. So I'm going to do without a mat because I am using smart materials. I'm going to click Confirm. And I have three different designs here for white, clear, and then black. For each of these, I think I will do 4 labels just to illustrate how these work. And now I just click Continue, hook up my machine, pick the Smart Label material, and draw and cut with each of these materials. So let's head to our Cricut machine and see how to do that. These new label materials come in both removable as well as permanent. I'm going to use the permanent version for my designs, but you could use either one of these. And remember, the Smart Label vinyl is the only one that is writable. So it's the only one that you're going to be able to write on it with pens and the pens not smear. If you buy regular vinyl and try to write on it, the pens will smear and you might end up with a mess. So I would stick with the Smart Label. I have my Explorer 3 ready with the fine point blade installed, and I've added a black Cricut pen. Again, you could add any Cricut pen, does not matter the color. We are using the white this time. If I was using the black, I would use these Opaque Gel Pens, and I will show you how these look on the product in a second. Then I pick Smart Label writable vinyl as my material. And I'm going to go ahead and just feed my material in. Now you can use the roll holder, but you do not have to. Once it's loaded, the vinyl will press go to start. So first it's going to write the word with the pen. Then it will move directly to cutting my material. And you will notice I did not move my star wheels, and the pens are not smearing as the machine cuts. So now we can remove this, and our labels are complete. So I'm going to set these aside. I'm going to go ahead and make labels with the black and the clear so we can look at all of those at the same time. You would use the same procedure for the black and the clear. Remember, for the black, you're going to want to use something like the Opaque Gel Pens so that it actually shows up on your material. So let me make those and then we'll take a look at the result. I tried a few different things with the black with the Opaque Gel Pens. So this version, I had the star wheels all the way across here like normal. And I got some dragging of the pen, and they just didn't look too clean, like especially this white one and this yellow one. So I thought, what if I moved the star wheels, would it make it better? So I moved the star wheels all the way over, did the same cut as before. This time the pen got onto my roller. So basically I have a lot of cleanup to do on my machine. I would recommend leaving these star wheels on the bar, spaced evenly. But note that with the opaque gel pens and this black material, that you might have some places where it doesn't look just perfect. I will note on all of these that the pen was dry, like as soon as it came off of the machine. And then I did want to do a test for you. So this is just regular Cricut permanent vinyl, nothing special. This is the same pen that I used here. If I was to try to write on regular vinyl, not the Smart Label, as you can see, doesn't really work. So this just illustrates that you do need the Smart Label material in order to write on the vinyl. Next, for each of these, you're going to want to weed it. Basically, I'm just pulling away everything that's on the outside. And now I have labels that I can put on just about anything. So the number one question I get about this material generally is it waterproof? Where can I use it? So let's run some tests on that as well. Here are each of the label materials. So white, black, and the clear. I did want to note, so I drew on the clear with a different color of pen, just so you could see that you could use any pen color. And then of course the black was the opaque. So I'm just going to wet a rag. And each of these at this point is dry. If I wet, say the black, you can see that it starts to smear. So each of these, this one actually starts to rub away. And this one almost completely disappears with water. So each of these are not going to be waterproof. So you would want to use your Smart Label material in places that will not see moisture, or protect them in some other way. So what I do a lot is to make labels and then put them into waterproof sleeves to protect them more. So you could use those options as well. And I do have another video on some of those options, and I will link to that in the description below this video. For each of these labels to apply, you just peel it off the backing paper, and then it's sticky just like any other vinyl, and you just apply it. So I went ahead and applied it to this, it's a lid of a container. This is the white, this is the clear, and this is the black. So this is just to illustrate how it would look on a container. The clear, of course, the color of your container is going to come through that label, so keep that in mind if you choose the transparent label material. All right, so what do I think about Smart Label material? So I've been using Smart Label material for a long time, just the Cricut Joy size and the white, of course. I really like it. So I use it for labels in a variety of areas, but as I showed you, you would not want to use it in any area where it would be getting wet or see moisture, because it might fail in those areas. Otherwise, it is seriously the perfect material, and I love now that it's permanent and removable, so I could make removable labels with the Smart Label material as well. Now the black I was not that impressed with, because the gel pens smeared on me no matter what I did. There might be some tips and tricks that someone invents and comes up with, but for me, I wasn't crazy about the black with the opaque gel pens. I hope that it gets better, or there's someone that develops some tricks to use with it, and that I can use it, because I do love the look of those, just not the results I got today. The clear and the white, however, love those, and I will continue to use those. And I do like now that it comes in a wider size for my Maker 3 and Explorer 3. So every time I want to make labels, I don't have to break out my Joy. I can use one of those other machines. Now, like I said, these materials are smart materials. They're intended for the Explorer 3 and the Maker 3 in the case of the larger, wider sizes. There is a size for the Cricut Joy. As of right now, it's only in white. By the time you see this video, it might be in the other colors as well. I'm sure they're coming. Now, if you want to use them with the earlier machine, Maker, Explorer 2, something like that, just put it on a mat. You can definitely still use these materials, do the same projects that I showed you today. So if you're interested in making labels with these materials, have an older machine, cut it down, put it on a mat, and I know you're gonna like it. So hopefully this answered all your questions about Smart Label materials and the new opaque gel pens and how to use them. If you have any more questions about these, just ask them in the comment section below. If you like this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.